Round 5 of the season, Miami. Last season, this was the track where we had a home race winner. We also had it the season prior to that, and 2 seasons prior to that as well. It's also interesting we say that because the home race winner of this race last season won last week. Cookie won. And let's find out if he can do the same thing he did here in the last season race at Miami compared to the 4 races previously we've ran here. Will we have anything happen like that? We'll find out. Either way, we had Japan last week. We'll talk about it in a little bit. We got a lot to go over. You can tell I'm in a rush. But anyways, it was chaotic then. And it's already chaotic now with lots of news heading in about many different headlines, many different things that have changed. A lot of things that may not be a lot, but I can tell you right now, the interesting thing for sure about it is the fact that we have changes to talk about. And this change that we have for this week starts at the Ferrari camp. Different team principals there. Tadpole has a race ban, but he got promoted to a temporary team principal role. Invade will be there next season. J&T stepping down to academy assistant. We've all got it to cover, Titan, and we're here in Miami for maybe a few touchdowns to be made.
I like that little reference as we are
That's
racing around the Hard Rock Stadium, home of the Miami Dolphins. Good evening and afternoon, everyone, wherever you are watching this stream here. This is going to be quite a fun race, I will say so. With Cookie winning last season, can he possibly go 2 in a row? It is possible, but there is some fierce people involved in this event. It's going to be quite a spectacle, to say the least. And yeah, quite a lot of changes, as you mentioned, mainly with the Ferrari campground. Some drivers being moved around. We have loans about. We have, I believe, a returning driver. It'll be very fun to watch. I'm actually stoked for this.
I absolutely agree. Speaking of Japan, last week it was Cookie who won his first race of the season. Jack Miles on the podium, getting what he calls his monthly podium. And Red Fire Tiger getting his best result since his last podium in RPL. It's going to be very interesting to see what ends up happening for the Grand Prix tonight. In Miami, we mentioned we have ran 4 races here prior. We'll find out what happens in the 5th one tonight for sure. Cookie, Speed, Bull Drivers, part of Red Bull Academy, joining in the lobby a little bit late. Speed had a good result last week as well. TB had a really good result last week as well. He's still yet to make Q3 this season as well, by the way. Lots of things to talk about. We'll talk about our weekend winners so far before we get to any other headlines. Tier 3, we had George win on penalties. Tier 2, at Spa, it was JTK extending the championship lead. And for F2, how crucial would it be for the championship if the championship leader missed? Well, that's exactly what happened. Josh and Jack both taking... Josh and Metal, both taking their second career wins and gaining in on the championship. Jack even getting in on the championship, scoring the most points during the weekend. Lots to talk about, lots to make interest of, but Titan, you won't be here next week, so really as we head into the second, fourth of the season after this event, it's going to be very crucial for Cookie to at least keep himself in this race, and especially the constructors teams as well. Behind McLaren, Aston, Ferrari, Red Bull, all are within 10 points of each other, but they're not even within 40 points of McLaren.
Yeah, it is quite a brawl itself between Aston, Ferrari, and Red Bull. I mean, with Ferrari, you have guys like Gecko basically trying to hold the fort down. Then you have Cam, who was supposed, I believe my memory's right, I could be incorrect. He was going to be in Sauber tonight, but he's going to be in Ferrari because Skither is not here. Those two,
Correct.
Skither and Gecko, they are a formidable duo. No joke, no lie about that. Then you have Aston Martin, you have Jack, consistent, strong runner, and then you have Egg, who's been exceeding expectations recently. I mean, a couple weeks ago, he was fighting for a win. Although he came up short, he put on a strong performance. And I've said it before, and I will mention it again tonight. Egg has the potential to potentially win a race this season. I'm saying it right here. You're hearing it right. I think Egg could be a first-time winner sometime this season. When?
Surely
I don't
has to
know.
be. He
Yeah,
surely
and
has
then
to
you
be.
have
He's done so well.
Red Bull, Cookie, finally like putting in the exclamation point to end a bit of a streak, a winless streak that he has had as of recently. And then you have Reese, who last week,
Gotten the
let me
points.
just, yeah, he
Most
was
points
six.
scored since what? His last podium? Japan last season?
Yeah,
Something like that.
I mean, but to be fair, he is on a slight bounce back despite having that P6. He, as you mentioned, he had some not so great points over the last several weeks, but that I mean, those inconsistent, unfortunate mishaps was what led Red Bull to where they're sitting at now. But I believe they will bounce back. And then, like I said,
Yeah.
McLaren, you have Leo Lund, who's been basically the star of the show, put it
Yes.
lightly. And then Minico for a couple of races, then switching to Hunted. McLaren currently right now at the pace they're going, they're looking for their first possible. They're looking for their first ever constructors championship.
So with Reese, I'll say this, and I'll speak about Egg in a moment. With Reese, I feel like at this point you have not many more excuses to pull at this point. You got a good race in Japan going. Cookie's back in the lobby, and then we'll get going. But you got a good race in Japan going. You got good amount of points there, and you ended up being right with your teammate in Saudi. You have lots of races where Reese has been up there and had the pace. I feel like now that he's got the bad stretch out of the way, in a way at least, and now your teammates won, you really have no excuses, especially with them updating this game once again. It's not another patch, but it's a patch for the curbs, and that's what drives a bit different, which we will be looking out for tonight. One other thing as we continue to ready up and get into our lobby for full qualifying 19 drivers here, we'll talk about drivers on loan in a minute. Egg, I want to talk about, he was practicing with Speed and Gecko prior, and he was amazed with Speed's pace. Speed's pace was incredible. He was able to pull quite a bit on Egg when practicing, and he's in a V-Carb as well, mind you, and Egg in the Aston Martin, which is faster than the Mercedes, but supposedly wasn't last week. It's track dependent with that Aston and Merc, but with them two, I mean, when they were practicing with Gecko, they definitely got a taste of what this race is going to be like, and I've heard a lot about the fact that DRS galore is what this event is going to be filled with tonight. It rained in Season 9 here for the full-time Titans, so if there's any rain, we won't be talking about DRS, but I must say, if there isn't, then we're going to be talking quite a bit about it.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I mean that Miami race when it was raining, I was not able to be on commentary for that because I was on vacation, but I
Yeah.
did watch the stream. That was a wild race to watch. But yeah, it is DRS galore because you have multiple areas where you can easily go for overtakes, like that long back straightaway hitting into turn number 9, I believe it is. And then you have then after the extremely tight left, right, the end of sector 2, that long straightaway down there. That's another one where you'll see people going for overtakes. And if you're not careful, you can lock up and go out and go see you bye into the runoff area in the wall. We've seen a couple people do that last season.
All right, come on, show the weather, Reese. I want to see it from your point of view. Well, yeah, I always like to do that at the start of quali or the start of the race. I always like to check the weather from the driver's point of view. It's a dry qualifying, as we can see right now. I don't know about any rain, though. We're going to find out in a little bit time, I think, if there will be any. For the race, we're looking at a dry race. Okay, so just like last season, and yeah, let's talk about some headlines. Again, Tadpole Race Band, that's why he's not here tonight. He would be in the Haas if he was, though. Osku, he is not in the Haas tonight, but he is full-time. He's someone they've brought over from TF10. It's very good to see more competitive drivers joining in an RPL, as always. J&T has been moved from the Haas to the Sauber because Cam is full-time at the Haas now. He went from the Merc Academy to the Ferrari Academy. All right, loans, reserves, let's talk about him quickly before we get to our qualifying laps, because the Haas is about to reach Sector 3, and I'm about to, well, really go fast in this one. Kieran is in the Williams for tonight's event. He's had great TT pace, but now let's see if he can translate it. He is reserving. We have Robin reserving in Haas. Jordan, I believe, on loan to Sauber. Yes, on loan. Cam is racing in Ferrari because Skither is not here.
Yep.
And he's out. I just watched that on stream. He did the same thing he did in Monaco last season.
Me.
He turned in too early once again. And he was on the inters as well.
Man.
Oh my goodness. And Gecko goes by watching the car in the runoff. Well, Blonde's in the Haas. Red Fire's reserving the Mercedes. He'll have to Triller join in qualifying. KVS is back after a month vacation, it seems.
Yes.
Minico on loan to Sauber, and I think that's it. We'll get a full grid once the Triller gets in here, but that means because Cam's out, Titan, 4 will go out based on pace now.
Yeah, that also depends on if that also depends on if the Chiller shows up during Q1. If he does show up during Q1, then that means we're actually going to be seeing, well, actually, because Cam didn't get a time lap in, he's going to be at the bottom of the field in 19th, or if the Chiller does show up, he'll be 20th. Nope, Robin invalidated, so I'm just switching to Jordan now, as he's going down those long, sweep back straight into the heavy braking zone of turn number 11. Now the long right-hander of turn 12. You've seen a couple of overtakes here before. We have 13, 14. This is going to get really tight here through 15. Now back up onto the power into 16 now. Now heading into the DRS zone number 2. This is where you're really going to put your power down. This is also one of 2 areas where you'll be seeing your strongest top speed here as Jordan flying down into the heavy braking zone, getting to around 205 into the heavy braking zone, down to second gear as he gets back up onto the power to follow it through and finish off this lap. Through turn 19 to go. He's setting the benchmark, and it is a 27, just a smidge below a 27.9. Not bad.
Yeah, Jordan had a fierce battle with Kipu in F2 and Tier 2. Tier 2, the drivers kind of clashed with each other afterwards, had some very angry words to say about one another, and then they clashed again in F2. So for Jordan, I think he's glad he's not in a race with Kipu this time, to say the least. It's good to see him racing Tier 1 again. Cookie fastest, though.
Yeah, speaking about with Jordan, one of the big pieces of news about with Jordan in the Red Bull Academy for Tier 2, but for the next season, oh my god, holy crap, Hunted, that was super scary.
Just caught that. He almost got in the way of the Aston as well.
Yeah, he just completely lost it right at turn number 4, but how he did not clam bam, thank you ma'am, into the wall, that is just wild.
Yeah, well, yellow flags, that is further up. That's someone getting out of the way. But yeah, Hunted had a very scary moment indeed. Egg as well is going to start a lap. Who are we going to go on board with? Now I think Gecko's completing a lap, and he's actually invalidated. So we're going to ignore that one until we get another car to cross the line to start a lap. That should be Egg then. Yeah, so Minico set a lap. He's on loan. He's not raced in a little bit. Oh my goodness. There was almost a collision between the Sauber and the Aston. Egg, and was that either Jordan or Minico? That was Jordan. Yeah, Speed is also second, but we'll ignore that for the time being because we're going to go back to Egg, who starts a lap. That was a scary moment down at the heavy braking zone there. Usually, the scary moment ends up being, just like last season, I think it was Florian going too deep and almost hitting the barrier there. It usually ends up being a driver braking too late, but this time, well, it was almost a collision there in qualifying. Egg trying to push the boundaries now in the S section. Such a tricky section now that the curbs have kind of been updated on this game. Hunted set a lap, and there's more who will too, but Egg will complete Sector 1. It's a 29.3, Titan.
29.3, that's an interesting little lap there. Okay, so where was I before Hunted's little scare?
Well,
oh yeah, Jordan. I was on about with Jordan. So he
Tier 2 full time
is in the Red Bull Academy for Tier 2. But for next season, he is moving to the McLaren Alpine Academy. He is going to be driving in McLaren for Tier 2 next season, partnering with another Tier 2 good, strong, decent driver, being John. So that will be
Yeah.
interesting there. And yep, I just noticed with Minico's lap, 27-1 for him, third place. I mean, he did say in the driver chat he hates Miami with a passion, but I think he's really showing himself that he can handle himself okay.
Egg second fastest, 26.2. You could see him flying out of that final couple of corners, trying to get to the line. You got Cookie on an invalid lap. Jack Miles is going quick in the second sector. Watch him get down to the turn that Egg almost had disaster happen in. We got yellow flags further up in front of that as well. But previous seasons here, I just want to talk about it briefly as we get Hunted setting lap third fastest and Gecko fifth fastest. Jack's coming next. Jack actually... He's coming fast, yeah. Well, he's not finished worse than fifth in all the Miami races that he's done. We were talking about that earlier this morning, Titan. We had the Chiller, Jack, all together talking about Miami. And the Chiller, he's never finished worse than fourth here. He'll be coming in late. Jack, who's coming fast and coming hard, he's not finished lower than fifth at Miami before.
Oh my god. But yeah, Haig's lap, by the way, with the second place right now. He is only a couple of tenths behind on Cookie in sector 2, but literally right on par with him in sector 1. But Egg does have the fastest sector 3 time out of this group. His best is a 25.072 for sector 3, which is the fastest. And he bested Cookie, and Cookie's sector 3 time, 25.078. So Egg 6 milliseconds faster in sector 3.
Yeah, no, about Jack. He's done quite well in U.S. races. He's not finished outside the points in the last 4 U.S. Tier 1 races. So I was going to say about him, he came close to the win in Season 9. Season 10, it was a collision with Be Good. And Reese just went second fastest, by the way. He won the Season 8 race here, Reese did. He's the only non-U.S. driver to win this race. Season 7 was chaotic because we had, I think, 2 different times where a driver spun from the race lead, or at least the top 3 pack of cars. I remember there was a big pile up here out of the last corner of Sector 1 before. Season 9, obviously, it was, pissing it down, but, there wasn't really much that happened that race, except for the fact that if Jack got within 5 seconds of Skither, he was going to get him penalized post-race for something that happened, I remember. And it was going to be a 5-second, they said. But Jack was just 11 milliseconds outside of that. So, yeah. We've had chaotic stuff in Miami here, especially more recently as last season where the second Red Bull, which we don't have to worry about now, with Florian getting a little chaotic, trying to protect for Cookie, it looked like, or just racing for a podium himself. What would have been a second one, he raced Korsman, Skither, and others a little bit aggressive and maybe a little over the line. KVS returns after holiday. He is 6th fastest. Good to see him up here in our grid and high up, to say the least.
Yeah, KVS was currently out of the country for a couple of weeks. That's why he missed rounds 2, 3, and 4. He did give Hunted and I of far enough in advance notice, so we were prepared for it. He is going to be unavailable for next week's race because he has family over, but after that he is going to be around for the entire rest of the season, so he will be in good shape. But yeah, KVS, if you think about it, back in Bahrain, KVS was basically in the top 5 in the Alpine throughout all 3 qualifying sessions. He was really firing on all cylinders in regards to pace.
His first podium here last season too.
Exactly, yeah. And now we have Blanc. Now I'm on board with Blanc. He's just coming out of the final couple of corners to wrap up his time. He's one of a few left to get times in. He's 10th fastest at this moment.
Nicely done. Nicely done from Blanc. Leo Lund on a lap now, entering the quote-unquote Mickey Mouse section, as they all say. It ends up being such a tricky section for the drivers and also for traffic as well, as you saw the Aston trying to get out of the way. I think that might have been Egg who set it second fastest earlier. But definitely lots of traffic out on the circuit. Yellow flags up in front. You got the Haas who has damage. That's Robin or Blonde who may have picked up damage on either their in-lap or their lap. Leo has one other car to negotiate. That's the Williams. If that is Samuel Drakely, I want to talk good of him because he ended up getting a good result last week in Japan. But Leo Lund across the line now. What will it be for him? 25-2, 7-10s clear in Q1 already. My goodness.
I mean, in a sense, I know Cookie is like last week he was not thrilled on Leo Lund being so quick in some of the sectors. I mean, I think in a sense maybe, and I'm not speaking ill will about it, but I think Cookie might be seeing like a version of himself in the mirror because last season, large gaps like this in qualifying sessions, Cookie was doing that as well.
Red Fire
I think
Tiger,
maybe
one of the
he's just
only...
noticing that.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say Red Fire Tiger, one of the only drivers in a top car yet to complete a lap so far. He's currently going purple through Sector 2. If he completes this lap, he'll knock Kieran down into the bottom 5, who's on a lap currently. Samuel Drake Lee, we mentioned him earlier. He set it 13th, Jack 10th. Lots happening so far. Something I was going to mention about Leo is, you saw Red Fire make a small mistake, is that I believe it was mentioned, just prior with Jack and Egg talking about the fact that Red Fire only 12th. Wow. I was just gonna say with Leo and Speed, they're two drivers, and to keep it consistent, this happened with Owen, this happened with Cookie before. They're two drivers who, at some point in the future, whether it was this weekend, maybe was one of the things brought up, or eventually in some of the coming weeks, they would get task manager, task file checked, whatever it's called. I think that's task manager, task file, whatever the word is. That happened after Owen's race in Hungary, or before Hungary. That happened with Cookie last season as well. It's only the fair thing to do, and it's only consistent as well, based on how things are, by the way. Just wanted to mention that because that is something that was going to be mentioned prior as well. You were surprised about Red Fire. I'm about to see if Kieran's about to beat that because I think he's got a chance to. Will he? Yes, he is ahead of Red Fire.
Wow.
That is very disappointing from Red Fire.
I'm willing to bet he made mistakes somewhere, or maybe the track is just really kicking his ass. And on a bit of a side note in regards to this track itself, with the Miami circuit, there are a couple of corners where there are going to be chances of invalidating lap times, and even in the race, there's going to be chances of track limit warnings and penalties. The section where Gecko is going through turns 14 to 16. That is the most infamous area to watch out for. There, you'll see a lot of track limit warnings, penalties, and during the race if you're not careful. Because I mean, it is so tight. I mean, it's basically Baku Castle tight. That's how tight it is, or tighter than my ex-wife.
Okay. I was just gonna say, hopefully us tier 3 drivers. Hopefully us tier 3 drivers tighten. We don't end up hitting that castle wall next week in tier 3 Baku. Because that's where tier 3 will be.
Oh man.
Got tier 3 at Baku, tier 2 at Britain, F2 at Qatar, and F1 at Imola. So that'll be fun.
And I'm bummed out that I'm missing Qatar F2 because of my vacation. I'm gonna miss that out.
You're good at that track. I will give you credit for that. But
yeah,
how good is good, right? How good is good? I mean, you beat me on my 1-lap pace there before, and that was one of my better 1-laps too, in F2XL. So yeah, you do have some good pace at Qatar. I do give you credit for it. You ran well in the preseason test there as well that we ran for F2. Leo Lund, Cookie, Egg, Hunted, Blonde, they all think they're safe, but right now Gecko is having to go back out there to make sure he is safe. Zakaria, Robin, they're in the bottom 4. They've yet to set laps, by the way. Gecko coming through where Cam crashed, not crashing himself, but having a little fun time with the curbs. You can see him go side to side and now clunk the outside wall right there, up by 0.2. It's not like he needs much anyway to advance, because there you got KVS in the pits, you got TB in the pits. So really Gecko only needs just a smidge here to at least make sure he's safe, just in case others improve just as much as where he's at. That'll be very dependent on track evolution. AMS speed, second fastest for VCarb, the highest Red Bull Academy driver. Now Gecko crosses and goes only 6th fastest. We switch to our bottom 5.
Yeah, we have Robin currently going through turn 16 right now. In the background, there's a Sauber ahead. That is Minico. Minico, I saw in Sector 1, he was over 2 tenths up in Sector 1. He's just got to find a little bit more to try to get out of that bubble zone there. But here we go. Here comes Robin down into the heavy braking zone of turn 17. Now through the last couple of corners of 18 and 19. And Minico improves but stays 14th. So he's going to have to hope and pray that he stays in there. Robin is in for right now, but it just depends on how the others go. Here comes Zakaria. Zakaria knocks Robin out. So unfortunately, Robin is done for Q1. Next up, Jordan. Here he comes out of the final corner. See, can he knock off Zakaria? No, he's 17th. So he is going to be out. Now all Zakaria has to hope for is Samuel Drake, unable to best his time. 26.9 versus 27.7. 8/10 the difference between Zakaria and Samuel Drake. That'll be a bit of a surprise. It'll be a big surprise if Drake gets himself into Q3 to join his teammate Kieran with only 19 seconds on the clock. Here he comes across the line, and he does knock Zakaria off by 0.02 of a second.
Unless anyone crashes, it looks like that both Williams will be in Q3. Q2, excuse me. That's a very good sight to see for them. Kieran, did he retire on track or did he come in the pits and do it? I think he just came in the pits. Okay, good to see. Checkered flag waving now. Minico will be the first one across. And I just want to mention this, for those of you wondering, 17 watching, Cookie was asking Leo Lund to be file checked. And he was. Remember, if you're on PC, it's really the only place you could cheat if there was a chance of that. Cookie asked. You got the response. Leo did get file checked literally just moments ago. So good to see that. Robin into the pits. It looks like Zakaria is backed off. I think Jordan definitely backed off. Samuel Drake Lee is into the next round of qualifying. Although the Aston did give the Sauber a bit of a slipstream, they are in different academies, though, just for today. Red Fire looks like he's backed off, realizing that he doesn't really need to go again. But one I think who is, and we're going to watch him just in case he does get a better lap in, is Gecko. Gecko is up, and does he clunk the wall like he did last time? He's just up against it and didn't. 2/10 up. Gecko looking to go second fastest. He doesn't even need to do this, but he's choosing to anyway. And he's also on Warner tires and also worse fuel than what he was the first run that he did that he improved on. Can he improve a second time? Here comes Gecko. He qualified quite well here, actually, back in Season 9. His only Miami start. Cross the line in Q1. He'll be second fastest.
And that second fastest was done on a used set of tires. So Gecko, I guess the time that he had for where he was in 7th, he went back out on that same set of tires. So Gecko on a used set, sitting in 2nd. But yeah, at this moment, with the chiller still waiting to come in to join us. You have Cam crashing out in the tight chicane, Jordan, Robin, and Zakaria. I would say Zakaria technically is going to be the upset for an elimination for qualifying, because Samuel Drake Lee is very surprising to see him get through into Q2.
So, Leo Lund is fastest for McLaren, Gecko in 2nd, Speed is in 3rd, which... interesting there with him being the highest Red Bull Academy driver, even over Cookie. Egg is 5th. That's 5 different teams inside the top 5 for Q1. You said both Williams are in. They've never finished worse than P13 in their last 3 Miami races. Bottom 5. DeChiller joining us later. Cam crashed out. Big for those 2 teams. Jordan, Robin, and Zakaria. They're the other 3 that got eliminated out of Q1. Yeah, DeChiller will join us later, as we said. Cam out for Ferrari. The 2 big teams, Ferrari and Mercedes, out in Q1. This is definitely going to provide an interesting Q2 as to who can get in and, well, what the difference will be. Because now, just like last week, we had some teams knocked out, surprisingly, in Japan that we may have not expected to get knocked out. And some teams get into Q3 that usually don't arrive there. So this might be another week of that, with Mercedes being out in Q1. Obviously not here right now, MIA, and You got Cam as well, who obviously is out. We already knew that one because he crashed out within 2 minutes.
Yeah, very true indeed on that one. Just trying to remember something you were saying earlier in the stream. Who was the person that you were mentioning about that came from like TF10? Which one
Oscu, I
was that?
think.
Oscar,
Something like
okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy
Something
that's
like that.
not here. Yeah,
Correct.
and
The Haas. That'd be.
for those that don't know, if you're well, from what we were talking about with TF10, that's where Oscar is from. But there's also another driver that's also part of TF10. He's not racing because he prefers racing equal instead of the
Fair.
realistic cars. The other guy is Korsman.
Oh,
Korsman's
yeah,
also
that's
in
right.
TF10.
It should be good to see if he ever comes back. I feel like I would like to see... Oh my god, I thought Leo was going to hit the Ferrari. I was just going to say with Korsman, yeah, he was the one in the McLaren doing quite well for a while, and maybe it would have been interesting to see what he could have done this season, because that McLaren, best car arguably. You know, obviously it will depend on tracks, but they seem to have the edge over other teams. He was able to win 4 races, Korsman and RPL, all in cars like the McLaren and the Alpine, being third or worse in terms of where they rank on the car performance chart. So yeah, no, it sucks not see. Oh my god, I keep thinking he's gonna hit the Aston there of Egg or Jack. No, that's Jack.
That's Jack.
Oh my goodness, I keep thinking even just weaving and trying to warm up their tires because they're not gun AI. I keep thinking they're gonna hit each other. But yeah, it sucks to see Korsman not here as much anymore. It happens, but hopefully he can come back for his home race a few more times. Zandvoort, for those of you not familiar. Titan. We have laps starting. We've not really covered hot laps too much. Take us around Miami with HSR Gecko.
Alright, well here we go with Gecko as he heads in the braking zone to turn number 1. Now through turns 2 and 3, bit flat out, a little wobble on the rear end from Gecko there. But now back up into the gears through the 8th gear. This is basically just flat out through turns 4, little slow, little feather on the brake and turn 5. Now through the long left of turn 6. And now, the back straight, 8 through 8, now to the DRS zone, involving turns 9 and 10. There's the DRS now, wide open as Gecko roars down this track, heading towards the heavy braking zone here, getting to the braking right around the 75-meter mark, down the 3rd gear. Now, just hanging on to that 3rd, going through, going into the next tight section, very close to the wall, don't want to get too close to it. We took Cam out, and he hugs that wall very nicely. Minute 0.5 for the combined for Sector 2. DRS number 2. Back up in the 8th gear to get the speed roaring and high up there. His teammate, Jordan, was in 204 in the braking zone, 207 for Gecko. Now through the last couple of corners, back up through the gears. Flat out. Roaring through 19 to go, deployment used, and the benchmark 25.6 for Gecko.
Keep seeing a lot of deployment used as they come across the line. We'll also notice some drivers here in the session, maybe on used tires, others maybe on new tires. We have other cars coming across the line. Reese Dainty is one of them, a past Miami Grand Prix winner here in RPL. Overtake button on use. Will he hit deployment used? No, he won't. Across the line, second fastest, just slotting in behind Gecko right there. The fake TB is trying to make Q3 for the first time this season. We'll ride on board with him as he goes down this long back straight. Something to mention as well that we should talk about slightly. Track limits around here. It's not too bad, but, you know, drivers will push that limit and may get caught out to where they get a 3-second around this circuit. Wouldn't be surprised too much. TB had a big moment there down in the braking zone. Will this lap be good enough on his first go to get into Q3? Hunted is in right now, 3rd place, and TB slots ahead of him, even with that mistake that he made there on the curb at the final corner and at the final braking zone as well. So TB looking like he's in a good spot here to start Q2. Minico's on a lap.
Yeah, let's see where Medico is at. Oh, it's in the heavy braking zone of turn number 11 as he's working around here through. Now, Minico started the season in McLaren after a couple of unfortunate mishaps and incidents. I mean, literally, Jetta almost went airborne.
Oh, he would have lost his life.
Getting in a collision. Yeah, that would have been horrible right there. But yeah, Minico was just was not feeling happy with the state of the game. So he moved down to reserve. That's why Hunted is up in there. Hunted coming from tier 2, had to gain banned from there. But here comes Minico across the line, and it's only ninth fastest, 27.4. That I believe definitely he's gonna have to go again. Yeah, especially since I believe that was.
Cookie,
Was
8th.
that Cookie? Yeah, Cookie.
Yeah, he's
Wow,
gonna have to go again as
Cookie
well.
down in 8th. That you don't expect.
Yeah, but I think there's a big variety of drivers on used and new tires here so far in this session. I think that's what's making the difference. And with these cars getting so much more closer as well, that will be the tough thing for these drivers to do. Get in on used tires. Cookie could do that a lot last season. Go on his first run, get in on used tires. I don't think you can do that as much now. Got Blonde and KVS, you've set laps there in the bottom 5. And by the way, you spoke about that Ferrari hitting 207 compared to the Sauber hitting 204. Very interesting. I don't know what these guys' wings differential are, but I'll tell you for sure what I do know is that the Ferrari is the fastest car in the straight, while the Sauber is the 4th fastest car in the straight. And usually the gap between the first and the slowest car in the straight ends up being about 5-6 miles per hour or kph. I'm surprised that it was three different on that mile per hour between the Ferrari and Sauber.
Well, I mean, the Ferraris are known for having some really decent straight line speed in regards to some of the tracks, but they wind up having a flaw of like having difficulty in some of the tighter corners. I'm on board with Blonde, but he's gonna have some company ahead.
They're
He's got the
weaving.
Williams of Kieran and the McLaren of Leo Lund. I think Leo needs to be careful where he is. Yep.
Yikes.
No good.
That almost got
A
tight.
little bit
I
on the
think
close
Blonde will
side, but
report
he's
it.
okay.
Yeah, I think Blonde's gonna report it though because he went a little wide into that braking zone, maybe compromise this line. Blonde is 9th, KVS is 4th fastest, just like Bahrain. Once again, he puts in a decent performance. And one of our drivers yet to complete a lap, Leo Lund. I'm going to take you through this turn 1. Heavy braking zone for the drivers. A little wide there for Leo, but I think you set yourself up decently for 2 or 3 at that case. This is a very tricky section no matter the F1 game. Going out very wide in that section there, right before the S's. Now the S section. These curbs are going to be a little bit more detrimental than prior, so you've got to be careful. But he's on PC, he can take these curbs a little bit more easier, and you could already see the way he's shifting this car sideways, though, is a bit abnormal. But is it gaining him any pace at all? That's the question. Keep in mind, we mentioned this prior in Q1. If you just missed that, he was task manager checked. His stuff is completely legal. The fact that you can cheat on an F1 game, though, is kind of unfortunate. But now into the stadium section area, where it is a very Mickey Mouse section, as the drivers would call it. The chicane coming up. This is the big place I was talking about in terms of track limits. Can he keep it within those curbs? He does bounce over the curbs, but he does keep it within all 4 wheels of the track limit so far. Almost hits the wall, but purple. It's looking good for Leo.
Well, compared to Gecko at the Sector 1, he is half a second slower than Gecko in Sector 1, so maybe going that little bit wide in Turn 1 compromised him just a little bit, but he's looking to regain some of that back through Sector 2 and 3. Here he comes in the last couple of corners now. Let's see what Leland's got for a time.
Wow.
And yeah, 7th fastest, 26.6. As I mentioned, he did, as you said, he did go a little wide in turn number 1. I think that compromised him. So he
I still
probably will
wanna
have to
know,
go
though.
out again later on.
Although he had deployment used to the end Titan, I still want to know, was he on used tires as well? Because his lap does not seem like it was one on new tires. You can just see how much Hunted is able to hit the apex a lot more easier and just throw that car in there as he completes Sector 1. I want you to see what his lap is like compared to Leo's, because even though he had a moment, he's up by 2/10, 29.1 for Hunted. I mean, what did Leo do through Sector 1, Titan?
29.7.
Yeah, 6/10 differential right there. That is insane. Hunted right now is on charge for maybe a top 4 here in Q2. Remember, if you're new here, it's a realistic performance league, and it's based on the real-life car performance, as Hunted does hit the wall right there on the right side, just barely. Yellow flag's in front. That is his teammate. No, it's behind. Sorry, it's his teammate behind. I got a little blind there, but yeah, with Hunted... It may have been a scare for him, seeing yellow flags as his teammate. I was just going to say, if you're new here, based on realistic performance cars, and also, it is full qualifying, so you got to get through Q2 to get to Q3. Hunted is trying to do just that. He's ahead of his teammate. One more braking zone to go.
Yeah, I think that little clock at the wall really hindered him over as he's going back into the pits. Hunted lost a tenth of a second in Sector 2. He was a tenth of a second down from his personal best in Sector 2. But, as you said, when Hunted had that Sector 1 of a 29-1, he was 800ths faster than Gecko in Sector 1.
Wow. The fake TB, the Season 8 champion, is trying to put himself into Q3, and he's doing a hell of a job doing it so far. 5th place for him, ahead of teammate Speed, who we're on board with right now, in the beautiful V-Carb here into Sector 3 in just a moment or so time. We'll look at the sector split, but let's see how he does this section. This section is so tricky to race wheel to wheel, so tricky on track limits, right up against the barriers, just like Monaco.
And he's over 4/10 up in Sector 2. That's going to put him ahead of Egg at the moment.
No, 6/10 now. Look at that. By the way, I don't want to take our eyes off of Speed too much, but I at least don't want to ignore it. You got the fake TB now going second on a second lap. Wow. I was just going to say, Kieran is 8th for Williams, getting Williams maybe in a Q3 for the first time this season. Can V-Card put both cars inside the top 3 in Q2? They almost do. 4th for Speed, 2nd for TB.
And look at the gap for these guys. TB 200ths faster than Reese at the moment, while Speed is about 900ths behind. So yeah, that's just wild.
Wowee. Well, Cookie's on a lap. He's currently in the bottom 5, and he could knock Leo Lund down there. How crazy is that? Well, we got his Academy teammates 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, but you'd expect it to be Red Bull, V-Carb, V-Carb. Well, it's V-Carb, Red Bull, V-Carb, and Cookie, I think, just tapped the wall maybe. Across the line now, deployment used, and the home driver will go 2nd fastest. Red Bull Academy drivers are 2nd through 5th, and I just want to remind people that V-Carb have never had a pole in RPL F1, but they have had a 2nd place qualifying spot coming as far back as Season 3 Canada with Oxtez.
Yeah, that would be wild to see them both in for Q3, and I mean, this is gonna be interesting to say the least, because I mean, with Reese trying to find his groove back, I think that will be something he doesn't want to like have to seeing both the V cars very, very close within him. So that'll probably maybe spur Reese to like us going like, okay, they're pretty fast. I know I can be fast. I'll go much faster if I need to.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't want to raise any questions about anybody, because obviously Speed will figure out when he gets Task Manager checked, but you got to wonder, with TB, he's usually up there and does outperform every car he gets in, but with Speed, though, we've not seen him as long as TB in this league. You got to wonder if both V-Carbs are there. Yeah, we'll see. KVS crossing the line, deployment used. He does go 5th fastest ahead of at least one V-Carb. I was just going to say with Speed before we get to our final laps, I was just going to say, we've not seen a lot of him in RPL until really end of Season 10. So for him to be up there and that quick, this fast, it is a bit of a shocker. You do have to question it. Leo Lund has been quick. He got Task Manager checked. He's all in the good, but did Speed get Task Manager checked? Is he the same as Leo Lund? We don't know. So that's something I don't want to put the bold assumption to, but I do want to ask. Is Reese questioning that himself? Does he know about Leo Lund being Task Manager checked? We don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Final lap's underway. You got Minico, who's backed off, going to go for another one. Samuel Drake Lee trying to put both Williams possibly into Q3. Kieran is there. It's good to see him back up in the swing of things, but Samuel Drake Lee had decent pace last week. Made a good recovery drive after the safety car, 3/10 up, and he needs this lap now.
Yeah, I'm on board with Hunted, by the way. He just came across the line. He improved his time, but he's still down in 9th place at this moment. That is not good at this present moment, as we get some more cars filing in to get their last laps to start off with. Minico, as mentioned, backed off. He's going to be trying again. Let's see who will be next
Samuel
to come
Drake Lee.
Across the line. Drake Lee, yeah. And he's 3/4 of a second up from Sector 2. This is really nice.
He needs to get... Up there, yeah. You were going to say he's going to go 10th or maybe 11th? Yeah, looking like it. Here we
That's
go.
what I was thinking. Yeah, right
Yeah,
around there.
Samuel Drake Lee. Across the line now. Deployment used. Using all of it. 11 fastest. Just misses out, but that's still a really good effort. Very impressive from him. Leo Lund is up a second. He's looking to go fastest in Q2. Will he do it? Yes, he will. 25.2 is the time at the top of the table here.
Ooh. What the hell
Blonde
was
is
that,
out.
Blonde?
Whoa. Blonde
He
is out.
validated and he just stamped the
Right?
throttle down and crashed.
He raged on that one. Hunted trying to get out of the way, but Redfire Tiger is 5/10 up. He will beat both Williams if he goes on with what he's currently doing, but he needs to get a little more than that if he wants to get that extra edge and beat Hunted. Kieran, by the way, invalidated. He's currently out and gonna be out anyway. Hunted 10th, just maybe barely getting through, but it's a fight between him and Redfire Tiger across the line now. Redfire Tiger is just out for Mercedes. So the only Mercedes Academy cars into the next round of qualifying will be the Astons of Egg and Jack, who sits second in the constructors. Minico across the line. Can't forget him. He's a Canadian driver, not a U.S. driver. Some confuse that, but he invalidated actually as he crossed the line. He had a chance to beat Blonde, but because he was pushing that extra edge and went all the way to the right side of the track, he crossed the white lines, and the game nicked him for it. That is so unfortunate for Minico. Out of qualifying in that bottom 5, joining Blonde, Samuel, Kieran, and Redfire.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is, if that lap did get deemed allowed, he would have taken 12th from Kieran by 0.003 of a second. That's what he would have had. He would have made it into Q3, but he would have had an opportunity to start 12th. But taking a look at this field here, we have Leo Lund on top, Gecko in second, and Cookie in third for Q2. And take a look at this field. We have both McLarens, both Astons, both V-Carbs, and both Red Bulls for their pairs. And then the odd ones going solo, being KVS in the Alpine and Gecko in the Ferrari. As Ron just mentioned, Minico out, invalidated. Blonde out, crashing for weird reasons. Both Williams and Samuel Drake Lee and Kieran out. And Redfire, probably the big upset, out 0.04 of a second between 10th and 11th.
Wow. Redfire, I must say, maybe not getting along with that Mercedes as well as he got along with the Aston last week. Definitely questions have to be asked there, but no Mercedes in Q3. I'm not sure the last time that happened. For Williams' case, though, Titan, I have to give them a lot of credit. Both drivers 13th or better. I mentioned the stat just prior. The last 3 Miami races, we've had a Williams 13th or better in the race. In fact, ironically, last season it was Williams getting points, and I think they were just shy of getting 200 points all time in Tier 1 due to the help of, I believe, Owen getting them a 9th place finish here in Miami last season when he was reserving this race after, well, having a great start to the Tier 2 season. So he decided to come up and race then, and, well, we know it's happened since. He's gone full-time, but now back down to reserve.
Yeah, very true indeed. And looks like some cars are going to be coming out to get their runs in. I didn't get a chance to look at the stream to see how many people are watching.
17.
But 17, nice. Well,
Good for Tier 1
17,
standards, I must say. Usually
absolutely.
isn't like that.
Up to the 17 people watching. Let's put in your predictions. Who do you think will be in the top 3? Who do you think will grab pole? And heck, if you feel feeling extra loyal and all that whatnot, take your guess on what will the poll time be.
So yeah, go ahead.
If I had to pick on who my top 3 is going to be, in no particular order, for second and third, I believe it is going to be Gecko and Cookie. But pole position is going to be no doubt in my mind. I believe it is going to be Leo Lund securing pole position for this event. But for a time, what time is he going to do? Well, we did see him pull off a 25.2 in Q2. I'm thinking maybe he'll go a bit faster. I think we'll see a 25.0.
I don't know what time we'll see from Leo Lund, but I think we'll see a touchdown worth watching. Either way, second place and third, Gecko and Egg for me. I'm not saying a single Red Bull in the top three. I'm going to say speed beats both Red Bulls. That's my bold prediction for the session. KVS starts his lap.
Very bold indeed.
Yeah, very, very. And you know what? This Alpina KVS has really shown, even in races like Bahrain and to start the season, that he is a force to be reckoned with. That's for sure. Flying his way through Sector 1 already. What's the time going to be? 29.4 in the first sector. We've seen better, but considering the car that he's in, this is still good stuff from KVS. Let's find out what he does. He's got DRS applied. Already 40% on that battery. This is a bit of a concern, Titan. Drivers using up their batteries so much already in the first sector to where they go into the second sector and even the third sector and run out of the line. They've got to be careful and not have this happen. It may be the difference in them getting pole or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, KVS just clipped the bollard in turn number 14, but still keeps it within the track limits. No invalidation for him. I'll just take a look at the car behind him, Gecko, for Sector 1. KVS had a 29.4, Gecko 29.1. So Gecko just about 2.5 tenths up in Sector 1 compared to KVS. But here we come. Across the line we come. Final couple of corners through 19. KVS for the benchmark. It is going to be a 26.2 to kick things off. And Gecko responds with a 25.5. Not bad.
Hunted goes
Hunted
third.
right behind. 26.3. Yeah. Looks like next up is going to be Reese. Oh, no, that's not Reese. It is TB. TB's up next.
Yeah. You're right, yeah.
I always get with the V
I
Carbs
know.
colors. I get that mixed
Even
up.
if they still change it, it doesn't matter. I have the same thing happen. TB's fourth fastest, and he's not far off Hunted or KVS. Both Astons are coming quite quick. Egg first. What's he gonna do? Second fastest and 8 thousandths off. Reese Dainty goes back to pole position
baby.
once again. 25.3, and talk about doing it at the right time. Looks like he's just done it by a tenth.
You know what's wild? Take a look at with Egg's time. He literally he's got 25.555. He's got a 4 of a kind of 5s right there.
He's messing with the devil today, it looks like. He better hope that the devil ends up messing with Leo Lund and Cookie here, who both start laps.
Wrong
and actually,
number.
I believe they're right near each other on laps. Yes, they are. Cookie right in front of Leo. This is going to be very interesting.
Whoa! Leo got all out of shape going through 7.
29.1 for Leo. Cookie getting a slipstream from Reese Dainty here. This is very interesting. Both Red Bulls towing each other along. 207, 208, 210. Oh my goodness. Cookie getting a massive help there from Reese Dainty, the teammate. But interestingly enough, will this dirty air at all from Cookie affect Leo Lund at all behind? He's only about a second or two back, really. Maybe not even at this point with how it is. Cookie struggling there to get on the power, exiting the chicane, and does hit the wall. Leo Lund just power sliding out of the corner as well. This is interesting to see these two, a past champion of last season and maybe a future champion of this season, the top two in the championship, go toe-to-toe, really on each other's laps here. This is so tight on the edge.
What do you think? You were saying Cookie's 210 in a turn 11 was impressive? Let me take a look at that. Oh my god!
24-7, and that little bit of slipstream Cookie got helped them beat Reese Dainty for second place. Leo Lund, provisional pole once again.
Leo at all.
I know. I'm amazed. I mean, he closed up so much.
Yeah, I mean, because even though Cookie had that 210 going into the braking zone at 10, Leo responded by matching the speed. And if you think that was crazy, braking zone for turn 17, Leo Lund 213 before the braking zone.
We're in for a wild Grand Prix, huh? Regardless of the gap, I think
no
that Cookie
doubt.
can give him a fight on the start. He's got his teammate there this time. Speed didn't set a lap. Jack didn't set a lap. Yeah, well, well, I mean, my top three might not be accurate, but I could tell you fourth and fifth right there. They're close to them too. I can tell you that. Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, just a reminder, folks. I did see earlier in F2 there was it looked like Maddie 1929, a former driver I league race with, he was in Twitch chat. He was trying to join through a Discord link. I know Lewis Walker joined back the server. Just a reminder, if you want to end up joining the RPL server, we'll talk about this before I get any apps in. You have the link right below. If you see on our Twitch right here, you can just scroll down and you'll find that we have 477 followers. But also, I'll update the bio afterwards. I know we got to update that. It still is the same stuff as Formula Endurance had. With that being said, you have the YouTube, Twitter/X, and Discord link for people wanting to join or check out our other social medias right down below. Just an FYI for those of you wanting to join. Reminder, Q3, 10 drivers in here. We got 10 drivers already eliminated from Q1 and Q2. And I'd say our predictions so far, Titan, on who's getting pole has been just fine. But elsewhere, it seems like a toss-up. And TB, I mean, he's just trying to get some temperature in the tires. He's probably going to want to give us even more of a toss-up here in just a moment in time.
Yeah, that'll be quite interesting to say the least, as these times start to dwindle down, and probably see some more people get more and more quicker, to say the least. TB currently out on his lap at this present moment. Jack currently on an out lap. He's in turns 14 right now, but we are on board with TB as he makes his way through the snake corner of turns 5, 6, and 7. Very nice work from him. Now through that tiny little kink at turn 8. Almost 4/10 up in Sector 1. That is going to put him up to 6 at the moment. But that's just Sector 1. We'll see what else he's got as he's going through this track into the heavy braking zone. I think that's the slowest speed I've seen in that braking zone. Only 199 for the V-carb.
Wow. Well, they can obviously change a little bit of their setup, I think, in between qualifying and the race. Is TB getting himself set up quite good for this qualifying run? 6/10 up, it looks like. Maybe on the first run, he might have been on used tires. This one, maybe being on new tires, maybe. But his first Q3 appearance of the season, we're going to see how it unfolds and finishes here in Miami. TB, I think last season, I don't remember if he was here last season. I think he might have been, but we'll check that in a moment. Right now, we're checking to see where he's going to be on our leaderboard. Will it be up in the top 5 where he improves to? Just off of it. 6th fastest. And to talk about where TB finished in this race last season, he ended up finishing 7th for Mercedes. Started 10th. Right now, he's starting better than what he did last season. Jack Miles on a lap. Is he going to go the extra mile to get himself inside the top 5 with his teammate there and beat him? We'll find out. He completes Sector 2 in just a moment in time.
Sector 1, so yeah, Sector 1, he had a 29.5, which is only 4/10 off of his teammate for Sector 1. Sector 2, not looking too bad, but I think Jack, if he plays it chill, plays it right, he'll definitely be right in about with his teammate here, despite the little bit of a disadvantage in Sector 1. Here comes Jack across the line now, and it is a 26.1. That puts him 7th fastest at this moment. Let's see, as more cars are getting their outlaps completed.
Dainty on a lap.
Yeah, because there's a minute 20 left to go here. I'm on board with speed at this moment. The last guy yet to set a lap. But I'm just taking a look at the track map in turn 3. There's a bit of a cluster right there.
There is, but we got a slipstream. Race Dainty getting the favor repaid to him, by the way, Titan. Cookie helping him out. I just want to mention one other thing that you may have not noticed. You may have just noticed it. C. Davies joining the lobby. The Chiller did not get here in time for Merc, so C. Davies starting dead last for the Mercedes. Yeah, TB is out. He obviously set a lap, then now went back into retired. You said Hunted on a lap, Speed on a lap. He didn't get one in. Now Race Dainty improving by 2/10 now to try to beat the teammate. 40 seconds remain.
Yeah, Cookie is going to make it in time to get his final lap in. It's going to be probably about 15 seconds left beforehand. Speed, by the way, up to 6th fastest at this moment with that 25.6. So, but that's probably where he might be for now. Reese improves to a 25.1, but he is still close to 4/10 behind Leo Lund at this present moment, who's currently going through
Wow.
Sector 1. He is over a 10th up.
And he's going to get a slipstream to help boost him even more. It looks like he's got the Alpine of KVS. Egg third fastest. More cars cross the line. Gecko stays fifth, and he did improve as well. Hunted's only 10th. The other Aston is also crossing the line. That is Jack, who's only 8th. KVS, by the way, does have Leo behind him. KVS is improving, but KVS will be able to give his teammate a toe. But now that's no longer the case. Leo's in the wall, and he's made a mistake. And his hope for improving pole is done. Cookie getting slipped from Reese. 2/10 up in Sector 1. Surely going to be more in Sector 2 if he keeps going. Speed went 6th, by the way, for VCarb, beating his teammate who won the Season 8 championship. Now, the man who won the Season 10 championship last season, looking to still improve. Will it be enough by Sector 3?
Wait to see for sure as Cookie now getting past Speed, who had a bit of a helper. To be fair there, Leo is out as well, but we'll see what happens through as we head to the last couple of corners here. Let's see what Cookie's got as it comes across the line. I think he's going to get Reese here, but I don't think he's going to get close to Leo. See what he's got. And it is 24-9. Wow. Yeah, he did improve by a lot, but a tenth and a half off.
Wow. It's
Leo Lund on pole.
But it is Leo. Yes, you're right. His 4th RPL pole. Only 10 behind. The most by a Swedish driver, Maxwell. Wow. Those Red Bulls gave it all they could. Even the V-Carb as well, giving the slipstream too. 4 poles in a row for Leo Lund. I want to say the last time that happened was obviously last season, but I don't think we've ever had anyone. Let me just check here.
Oh my god.
We've had drivers take 5 or more poles in a row only, what, 5 different times? So Leo could do that next week, have it be 6 or more different times. Wow. What a qualifying. Sorry to cut in.
I just took a look at the driver chat. Leo was actually on an improvement by a decent amount that he thought he would have seen himself getting a 24-4 had that mishap not happened.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna probably drink that away. Anyway, Leo, Cookie, Reese, the top 3. I don't want to think about him getting a 0.4 now. Egg, Gecko, our top 5. Speed and TB, both VCarb 6 and 7. KVS ahead of McLaren and an Aston Martin. McLaren, who lead the Constructors' Championship heading into tonight's event, sit 1st and 10th. But Red Bull, who are 4th in the Constructors, they sit 2nd and 3rd. Leo versus Cookie, they're 1st and 2nd in the Drivers' Championship and our starting order. I don't know the strategy too well for here, I won't lie. Probably a simple, medium, hard. Maybe soft, hard, possible. But I don't think we'll see any soft mediums for this event tonight. No rain forecasted for our race. I don't really have the pit stop loss, but I can always provide what the last game one was. And yeah, 29 laps ahead of us before we get into the Two Forts way of the season here in just a moment. 20 seconds.
I'm just taking a look at the field here. Just taking a look at everyone's tires here. I see a lot of yellow stripe and white stripe tires.
Will they keep it clean in the start? It's time to find out. We got our 5th different run of Miami here. The formation lap will get underway first. Did not realize that was on. Good to know. Good for us to talk about some things. Jack turning it on. He's the tier coordinator. So, with that being said, hard tires for Leo and TB and Hunted. But the rest of the top 10 is made up on medium tires. A very interesting strategy call. I'm going to have to say this right now, though, because how poor it is to get those hard tires warmed up or just going good on the first few laps. Cookie and Reese both need to get a good start. Not only for the constructor's sake, Titan, but for the sake of this race, though. They need to do well. Everybody on the medium or hard, nobody on the soft tires at all. Leo is just blitzing here on this formation lap.
Yeah, he really needs to back up just a little bit. He doesn't want to go too strong here, because if he goes a bit too far, he's gonna wind up those tires will wind up going cold on him, waiting too long on this field here. I actually had the tire demographic up on this one, and it looks like we have pretty much half of the field on mediums, half of the field on hards. We
Even
have
split.
Leo, TB, Hunted, Kieran, Samuel, Blonde, Zakaria, Davies, Cam, and Jordan. They are on the hard compound tire. And then that leaves Cookie, Reese, Egg, Hunted, Gecko, Speed, KVS, Jack, Red Fire, Minico, and Robin on the medium compound tires.
So this will be an interesting start, not only because Leo's only just chose to back off now. We see hard medium on his thing for the projected strategy for what he thinks he's going to do. But for everybody now pulling up to the grid, I want to mention, you got a Mercedes back there, you got a Ferrari back there. You also got a Mercedes in the midfield as well. Leo missed his grid slot, it looks like. But with that being said, it shall be interesting to see how everything fares here, just because the fact that we got three big teams, or three big cars, back there, 10th or lower. And lap 1, Titan turn 1, we've seen Calamity Corner be the case there, whether it be F2 or Tier 1. Will we keep it clean on lap 1 and even turn 1?
Well, only time will tell as the rest of the field gets themselves bunched up and ready to go. Also, very quickly, one other thing. Oh, lights coming on.
Here come the 5 red lights. The 5th time we've ever ran here in Miami for F1 RPL is about to get kicked underway. The 5 red lights come on, and they go out for the Grand Prix. Leo Lund looks like he got a halfway decent start, but the Red Bulls will challenge already. Down the inside, and almost the Red Bulls colliding. That was damage, I believe, on Reese Dainty's car. He might have to repair that wing. He does have right side end plate damage. Big drama to start this race. The Ferrari and Astons, though, in the background, they run out wide. Lots of 2x2 in the background as they get to the S's, trying to keep it clean. You got the Sauber there trying to stick his nose in there. That's Minico. Samuel Drake lead down the order, but now Reese Dainty is being eaten alive with that damage. He's got Gecko there and Egg passing him as there's trouble. Minico and Kieran both have come together.
Reese locked up heading into the braking of turn 1, accidentally got to the back of his teammate. That's why he has that damage, as you mentioned there. And he has a little collision with Gecko.
Whoa!
Oh, baby, Gecko had to go a little wide.
Well, now you got Gecko hanging on over Reese. Everybody trying to get it stopped in time for the chicane. Hunted and Red Fire going to go ballsy and going to go side by side here. How do they end up making this one out alive? Hunted ahead. Also, Leo Lund was closing on Cookie, but not enough for the lead. Cookie did get the lead there on lap 1 as we see our position changes just now.
Just taking a look at the position change. As you say, on the position changes, Robin at the moment, the biggest winner, gaining 5 spots. And sadly, the biggest loser being Kieran, down 8, but it's going to be worse for Reese because he is in to repair what happened. And Jack is in as well.
More damage to a car behind. That's a Sauber who's having trouble now, causing yellow flags. But Jack and Reese having their race come undone quite early, which is very unfortunate. But as you see here, the car is going through the S section now for the 2nd time this race. The first time with what will be DRS activated on that back straight. Well, technically there's 2 back straights, but Hunted had a big wiggle wobble right there. He's gained 2 spots. You got Robin behind who's gained 7, as you mentioned. But Hunted needs to get up the field here for the sake of the constructors, because McLaren are currently being outpaced by Red Bull, but not for much longer. Leland's going for it, and he's attacking Cookie already to take the lead of the race.
Yeah, that DRS is going to gain you at least a good 8 to 10 miles an hour down these back straights here, and Leo Lund taking full advantage of it to get that lead back. And plus, also the reason Cookie was staying ahead in these straights is because Cookie was deploying that ERS on him. He had Cookie had about 30% heading into turn number 17, while Leo Lund had around 70 available to him.
Well, that could have been big. Either way, Leo Lund in control and will lead lap 2. Everybody looks like they're still in DRS, except for TB trying to get back in it there for 6th place. Speed takes the fastest lap. KVS now taking over 6th place. So we got some movement all throughout the field. We got Jordan and Zakaria trading spots as well, because Zakaria's gone to the pits, but side by side, Hunted and TB. Hunted a Tier 2 champion, TB a Tier 1 champion, both in different academies. Now to the S section. Hunted has to concede the spot, and he does. I know Hunted would have loved to go in for that, but he just couldn't do so. And they are losing touch of the front five, who are in their own train now for the lead. Cookie losing touch of the leader. Gecko there, speed as well.
Gecko looking to see if he can try to take second place from Cookie.
Oh my goodness.
Cookie trying to gain in on Leo Lund here. And contact between Gecko and Cookie. A little bump on the wheels there. A little bit of wing, but I don't see any damage on Gecko's car. He is okay at this moment. Yeah, KVS, by the way, nice easy run there. Then Hunted tried to go side by side with TB down in turn 1. They had a little touch in turn number 2. TB had to go a bit of a wider line, but he did take advantage and maintain that 7th place position at this moment.
You see that closing rate from Cookie from turn 8 to turn 11? It's absolutely insane what the DRS is going to do here for the drivers tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Redfire Tiger and Hunted, wheel to wheel. A bit of touching between the pair of them. Redfire is still going to keep this inside line here, down to turn 1. However, he almost clatters into the side of Hunted, and that would have been catastrophic for both. Will Redfire try a ballsy move in the braking zone and get a little impatient? No. C. Davies, though, lagging out of the session. For Mercedes, though, they have one car outside the points and one car trying to get another spot inside the points, but it's going to have to be a bit more with C. Davies, though, lagging out. He's going to need an invite.
Yeah, I just took care of that.
Good job, good job.
Took care of that.
But I think Cookie wants to take care of this race lead. He ran a bit wide there out of turn 8, went from about 0.43 back to 0.56, now 0.6, but you can see what the ERS is going to do to these drivers tonight. It's definitely manageable in some way, but if you end up using it the way Cookie has so far, it might hamper you a little bit. Gecko's in a good spot. He can maybe take advantage of these two, just like, you know, Cookie did on Leo last week.
I mean, as you're saying, everyone's setups can be different. They could be running different wing styles and all that stuff. But Cookie, even with the overtake deployed, he didn't gain much to Leo in that regard. He didn't gain much time.
But right now, he's within proximity of Leo, and right now, everyone's going to stay in this choo-choo train and just do the same exact thing, but I think Leo might have been hit there from Cookie. I think he was. Just going to say, everyone's going to stay and do their same thing until they get DRS, but if they don't pull out, you know what they're going to do? They're just going to stay in touch and not make these moves. But right now, Cookie doesn't care. He's going to make the move anyway and go for the lead. He's taking it over Leo Lund, while Gecko and Speed get to sit in behind. The thing about what Cookie was going to do... Oh, I almost on the wall right there. It was Speed. Sorry. Samuel Drake also got robbed. I was just going to say, with Cookie doing that, staying behind, everybody staying in this train, what you do in this situation that he was in with Leo, if he wasn't going to make the move, Titan, you end up charging that battery back up, staying within it, and kind of pick your braking zone and hope you don't hit anybody.
Miniko on the wall.
For Sauber.
That's for no, it's not Miniko. It's for Jordan.
Leo back at it. Ooh, Gecko almost hit Leo right there. Maybe he did, but no damage to anybody's car this time.
Yeah, well, you were mentioning a lap ago when you said possibly your Cookie you've gone to the back of Leo. The answer is no. Leo made a mistake on the exit of turn 17. He had a bit of a snap on him, but thankfully it looks like he's okay. He did not hit the wall. Here he goes down the inside to retake the lead. Down the inside, Cookie trying to fight into the braking zone. We go. Oh no!
Cookie around.
Spun. Bumped by Gecko.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is going to change the outcome completely. He's gone from the lead down to 8th now, and he's battling the other McLaren. The second one. KVS side by side with TB. We got Hunted and Cookie. Will this be a collision here into turn 1? It will!
Oh,
Cookie shoving his way past Hunted. Hunted getting all out of control as well. And now he's involved with the fight with Redfire Tiger. Oh my goodness. Cam through for 11th as well.
I think Hunted tried to go for an attack on TB down in turn 1, and Hunted decided to go for an attack on TB, and Cookie decided to just come in and say, "Hello, I'm gonna try to regain my loss here," and that resulted in that little mishap there. Cookie now gonna pass TB to get himself into 6th. now has KBS to hunt down, but TB looks like he's fighting back.
Oh my goodness, this is scintillating stuff here as we get down to the braking zone at turn 11. Cookie almost tagging the rear of the Alpine, now shoving out his teammate, who's now going to be vulnerable to Red Fire Tiger. These two, no love lost between each other. You know, Red Fire Tiger wants to shove one in there, but he couldn't. C. Davies, by the way, will need an invite back to the session once again.
I'll grab that now, actually. Try again.
While you do that, I just want to mention Blonde gets a 3-second, Minico gets Robin, but for Speed's case, though, he's all over the back of the Ferrari of Gecko. I wouldn't say he needs to make this move, but if he can be calculated with Gecko and work together to beat Leo Lund on the opposite strategy, this will be game on for them. C. Davies joins back. Gecko onto lap 7 in second place still, challenging Leo Lund, hopefully for this lead at some point. Got moves, maybe? Red Fire on TB? Is he close enough? No, he's going to make TB try to make a move and then go the outside and then slide into the side of the V-Carb and almost hit him once again.
A little scrape in the wing there, and Red Fire just gets into the back of TB, probably expressing a little bit of displeasure between TB and Red Fire. As you mentioned, these two have no love lost for each other, honestly, there. But also, Cookie is still trying to chase down KVS to go for the 5th place spot. KVS doing his best, even though he's part of the McLaren Alpine Academy. Oh. And it looks like Davies could not take control of his car. He is done. One Merc out. Cookie down the inside, clears KVS. He is up into 5th.
And Red Fire is getting the pressure.
Hunted and Red Fire back at it again.
Yeah, I'm not surprised this is continuing to happen between Red Fire and Hunted, but... Oh! Red Fire out! Red Fire did the same thing Cam did in qualifying, turned in too early, safety car deployed. Big incident for Red Fire, he's out. Oh my goodness.
And that was very close because Hunted was right smack dab behind him when he turned in too early. And Hunted almost got into that collision, but we have a safety car deployed. And this is going to be interesting because this will help the medium tire drivers, but it might be a bit of a problem for the hards.
They're in, but they got to stay within the white lines. We're going to make sure everybody does that. Hunted staying out. Obviously, he was in the hard... No, wow, Hunted, a late move. And as you said about the chiller once in a certain way, Hunted, you're not supposed to do that. Well, everybody looks like they're coming in except for Cam and Leo. 2 drivers in the hards. Hunted, a very late decision, though. That's surely going to see the steward's office. I don't see a possible way that it didn't. And Titan, you're lucky that I was in control in a way. Or you'd be lucky if you were in control of the stream, by the way, because I don't know if you would have caught that. But Hunted went left and then went back right, and that will be a penalty, no doubt. I don't see a way it's not.
I mean, to be fair, I did catch that myself. And I mean,
you would have been clicking off it immediately then.
Even though Hunted is my boss, I mean,
it's on him.
Even if they had stuff like that happen, I would still just forward it in and stuff, because I mean, you know, they're in the same academy. Woo, Lord, Checo almost hit the back of Cam.
Yeah, that would have been a teammate disaster. Speaking of Gecko, by the way, Titan, if you don't mind me cutting in for just a second, Cookie is livid with Gecko after the incident they had down at the braking zone. Every effing week, Gecko hits me under braking. How do you repeatedly do this every race? 5 races in a row. He's not happy. And I kind of can't blame him, because Gecko has done this where he'll hit the driver in the back braking zone, and he did it at Bahrain. This was the same thing that was reported at Bahrain. And this has resulted in a collision this time. So there you go. They collided in Australia. They collided in Bahrain, and now they've collided again in Miami. Go ahead.
You know what? The race is just going. I'm starting to smell the newest edition of RPL feuds.
Yeah, that's safe to say. Well, if you want to talk about a feud, maybe it will be with Mercedes trying to finish tonight's race inside the points with all Academy cars. Egg is their only Academy car inside the points right now. And I mention this because if you remember Portimao last season, Titan, they finished outside the points, but both cars didn't DNF. You had one that finished and one that didn't. Now you have a double DNF for Mercedes tonight. Unfortunate end to their race.
Yeah, it is not good at all, because, I mean, C. Davies lagged out. he couldn't take control of his car. That's actually a huge problem with this game right now. If you lag out, you are high likely not going to be able to take control of your car. And if you lead to try to go back, oh well, game kills your career.
And it's not just Cookie and who's upset with Gecko about drivers hitting each other's rears. Red Fire said, honestly, does Hunted want to hit people's rears anymore? Effing idiot he is. So we've got drivers not happy under the safety car, whether it's through party chat and expressing it through Discord, or, well, really overall, I don't think we got some happy drivers on this racetrack.
To be fair, I was on board. I was actually on the, not on the TV pod, but on the broadcast camera with Hunted and Red Fire, and truth be told, in my opinion, from what I saw on my screen, Hunted was not close enough to make contact with Red Fire. I thought Red Fire did the same mistake Cam did in qualifying.
Yeah.
Turned in just a bit too early and DNF'd himself.
Unless maybe Red Fire is talking about a different incident that happened a lap or two prior, maybe, when it kept happening in the braking zone. Because I know turn 1 and turn 11, they kept getting close to one another. So maybe something happened there instead of where Red Fire DNF'd. Because Red Fire did the same thing Cam did in qualifying, and also Cam did in Monaco, where you turn in too early and you hit the other car. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. This definitely changes the outcome, as you said, for the hard runners, Titan, because Leo and Cam both have yet to pit this race. So we'll see how this all fares out for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just taking a peek at some of the guys that did their stops and stuff. Guys like Jack and Reese, where they are for their tires right now, this is their second stop, because they both pitted on lap 1 after their little mishaps, with Reese getting into the back of his teammate, and Jack, I'm not sure, I'll have to ask him what happened to him that he had the pit for the second time. But also Zakaria and Kieran have made their third stop in this event.
Yeah, and we'll find out how they end up doing on the recovery drive. Same with Jack Miles and Reese Dainty, who picked up lap 1 scuffles and damage for their race. Minico as well, just outside the point. Samuel Drake Lee, 11th as well. Fake TV getting both V-carbs back in the points as well with pitting. He's on mediums, actually. I don't know if he'll be able to go the rest of the way. We'll have to find out. Safety car will come in at the end of this lap, but I just want to remind people, next week we're at Baku for Tier 3, Britain for Tier 2, Qatar for F2, and to follow up the F1 first half of the season, we got Imola next week, and Canada, Spain, Austria, and Britain to end off the first half of the season.
Quite a lot of field choices here. Now, to be fair, with this safety car, this does mess up Leo Lund and Cam over, because they have yet to stop, so they're gonna have to either hope for another safety car to happen, or for something that, they basically have to hope for another safety car to happen, or they're gonna have to try to pull a monstrous gap to get past some of these guys, to get these guys behind them, because they're gonna be at a disadvantage when their pit stops come.
And Leo Lund is going now. He has launched it out of the final corner. The safety car is into the pit lane. Back to green flag racing we go. Overtake button on use for Leo. Both Ferraris also trying to work together to get back up through the field and catch each other. But I think Cam is actually going to let Gecko go and then hope Gecko can pull a gap and maybe not get hit with anything in the steward's room maybe later on after his incident that he had with Cookie. Speed, technically thinking about it, he's net P2, Egg P3. And we got moves being made. Jack Miles on Robin here for 13th place. He's gone by, and Robin into the wall. He had a loose moment and hit Reese Dainty. Big incident there. I don't know if Reese picked up damage, but I know Robin surely did.
Yeah, both end plates are gone on his end. Reese looks like he's okay at this moment.
Yep, Reese is in the clear, as you would say, Titan. Hunted through in KVS. 7th place up for grabs. Both Alpine Academy cars.
KVS is fighting back, though.
He is. I don't know how he's going to be able to get this in the braking zone with those cars checking up in front. He almost gets cut off right there.
Close.
TV through as well.
right there with him.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed that TB was able to get through in the braking zone with all that racing going on between them guys. But 1.0 the lead. 0.9 now. Kieran gets a time penalty. It's unfortunate for Williams to end up having another driver suffer some sort of trouble. He was the one who did the start.
What's more wild is that with Speed, by the way, just gets past Cam to take third at this moment. But yep, with Hunted, TB, Blonde, and Samuel Drake, they started on the hard compound tires, and they're now on to the mediums. I don't know if the mediums will go 20 laps. I mean,
yeah.
it'll be a bit of a wild miracle if it does.
That's a bit bold if they're gonna make it go the rest of the way, but they're gonna hope just like Leo Lund will for a safety car. And Cookie will definitely be on the recovery drive as he's trying to get to Egg and now Cam now. For our lead, 3/10 the gap. I'm sure Gecko would love to get ahead of Leo Lund as quick as possible because he's currently dropping speed of DRS. And here comes Gecko in DRS of Leo, and with a lot of ERS still to play for, even on hot lap. DRS applied, going for it around the outside. Gecko may take over the lead of this race unless Leo Lund fights it back, and he does. He's going to fight it back down the inside. He's going to give Gecko the pressure, but Gecko to the lead. Also, Speed hanging on Egg. Egg just almost clattering the wall. Cam did so himself. Now he's inside of Cookie.
Yeah. Cookie just
wide.
went under and inside.
Cam getting a penalty. He went out wide. He had to take evasive action because he was side-by-side with Hunted. And there was a lot going on in that chicane.
Yeah, I mean, Cookie just went literally, Cam's car went completely underneath him.
Oh, Gecko and Leo leaning on each other. Gecko, will he lead this lap? He will over Leo Lund. Racing it out on the main straight, quite clean between the pair of them, Gecko and Leo, for our race lead. One yet to pit, one already has, and one wants to extend that gap. That's Gecko.
Yeah, Cam unfortunately fallen off, to say the least here. TV, by the way, just picks up a penalty. Whoa! Jesus, that was close.
That would have been a big moment for Hunted if he was out of this race, or at least with damage.
Good God, Hunted, I may be getting old. I may be 30, but Jesus Christ, don't give me a heart attack early.
Well, if it wasn't for Jeddah Season 5, maybe you would have saved an extra life, to say the least. Kieran gets a 3-second time penalty once again. Our race lead under threat. Leo back at it. Leo re-overtakes Gecko to get back in front, but Gecko tries the crossover.
Gecko attempted a crossover, but Leo manages to muscle his way ahead here as Gecko trying to fight back. He will have DRS available to him on this straight here, heading for turn 17. Meanwhile, Cookie, there he is in the background, right behind Egg. But Egg will have the safety of DRS available to him, courtesy of Speed ahead of him.
Gecko alongside and now ahead for the race lead. Further on back, we have Speed battling Egg and now Cookie. Cookie gonna throw one down the inside. Thinking of it? No. For our race lead though, Leo is yet to box. Gecko is staying out and staying ahead of Leo as well.
A very dumb question on your screen for the lap 14 and Gecko. Does this still say safety car?
Yes, I knew where you're getting at with this. This happened last week in Japan, by the way.
Okay.
It is a glitch, don't worry. Okay. I think we'll know when a real safety car gets thrown. We'll see it on the track map. See, this is the good thing, as we do have it go away. Jordan is out, and that does bring out a VSC. Jordan has crashed into the wall, and if this VSC...
Leo would have wanted.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if this VSC stays out long enough, this could be perfect for Leo. In some way. In some way. Why would I
forgot to mention this earlier at the start, but the formation map being on for Tier 1, that's not the only thing that's been changed. Safety car has been changed from reduced to standard.
Yeah, damage also being on standard. I was going to mention that as well, by the way. That was something that got changed last week for a small trial. But yeah. Here we go. Will this VSC stay out any bit longer? Therefore, Leo Lund can pit. Why I said the VSC, by the way, could help him. I said VSC, not safety car. I meant to, at least. Why the VSC would have helped someone like Leo though, is because he can at least not lose as much time and still have a chance to gain back up, even with all this battling. He almost hit Gecko in the braking zone right there. But yeah, just tuck back in, stand behind, try to find the braking zone. That's what these guys do in the DRS train quite a bit when they stay behind and just follow along. They don't want to make any moves to hurt their races. But right now, Gecko has kind of swapped the lead so much with Leo that I don't even know if it's costing Leo at this point with not pitting. He's at least kind of pulling away from Speed, Egg, and Cookie, who will be taking provisionally P2, or provisionally have P2, but will be taking it when Leo pits. Excuse me right there. Kieran is in. Or no, Miniko. Wow, I need glasses.
If I remember correctly from last game, the pit stop loss at this track is about 22 seconds, right?
It's something along those lines. I can double check.
Yeah, if it is that. Oh, Hunter's wrecked!
And that's a safety car. That will help Leo Lund.
And that will help Speed too.
Hunted is out, and it looks like he may have collided with Samuel Drake Lee. Hunted's right tire off. 4 DNFs so far to this race, but 1 that helps Leo Lund get to the pit lane quickly and efficiently. Whoa!
I don't think. No, it wasn't. It wasn't for that actually. It wasn't for Samuel Drake Lee. Where Hunted was beforehand, he was right around with KBS, Cam, and he was right around in the KBS, Cam, and Jack area.
He must have drove by slow with the incident. I see your point.
Take a look at the driver chat.
19 seconds, by the way, for the pit stop loss. Whoa. Leo Lund just overtook Gecko under the safety car and then let him back through. Whoa! Leo Lund trying to take the lead and has taken the lead under the safety car to get to the pits as fast as possible. Is that allowed? Or has he?
I don't think so.
Has he found a loophole though, Titan? Because he's gonna get a legal overtake and then it won't be penalized by the game because he already had to slow down for the pit stop. I see what Leo Lund did there. Lots of the field pitting. Look at that. Gecko passes safety car.
No, I mean, you technically can't overtake anyone under the safety car, so Leo's gonna. I think even if there's a supposed loophole, I mean, Leo overtook somebody before going to the. He overtook in the turn 17, so he's looking at a decent penalty.
Maybe 2 weeks in a row he doesn't win, maybe? I don't know. Hunted not happy with some lag. A Cookie asking me who's lagging. I don't know personally, but as Leo Lund tries to catch back up to the safety car, he's on the freshest mediums of anybody. In 8th place, and maybe looking at the steward's office after this. I mean, Gecko surely will with his incident with Cookie, but for Leo's case though, Titan, overtaking onto the safety car just to get yourself an advantage and, well, really kind of not get yourself overtaken too much by many people is a very interesting loophole considering you get the legal overtake, you have 15 seconds to give it back, but it's already going to be eliminated anyway because in those 15 seconds you pit, you give up that spot. So I know what he tried doing. I see what he did, but he almost did it too early.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, if he did it right as like the solid line for the pit entry, if he did it there, then he would be okay. But where he did it, I don't think that's gonna work. And I think even with that, I think Leo's gonna be finding himself in substantial trouble.
Well, Cookie says it'll be a pen. We'll find out if it ends up being true in the steward's hands. For the sake of our drivers up front, let's talk about it. Leo Lund, 8th place though. What he did, this is exactly what it reminds me of, is he's behind Reese Dainty. Funny enough, I'm going to mention Reese Dainty once more. It was the Korsman incident with him in Qatar and Reese Dainty that ended up getting Korsman a penalty, losing him the race victory in Qatar. It was overtaking in the pit lane, and now again, Cookie overtaking under the safety car? All right, well, that'll be interesting to look out for, but I was just going to say, that was one occurrence. Another occurrence was Baku with TB, and also Korsman did it, I think, once more there, maybe. That happened before. It was Cookie who originally won that race. He was penalized in the storage room. He runs 4th. He's trying to do a spin and win with 3 drivers to overtake first.
Well, we'll have to take a look. We'll have to take a look on what's going on here. But apparently, according to Leo Lund, the reason he overtook was because Gecko had too high of a delta. Because Leo Lund,
I don't know if that gives an
before
excuse,
the
though.
braking zone, he had over 2 seconds of positive delta.
Yeah.
But I mean, it all depends on if Gecko had the same thing as well. Because I preached it last game and I preached it this game. Everyone's delta is different, and anything is possible.
Yeah.
And I also did you also see the picture that Reach has put in the
I
driver's
did.
chat?
I did. For those,
He's got floor damage on him.
yeah, for those not aware, you're right. Reese Dainty does have floor damage. He's having to deal with this the whole race, and he's in 7th place. The only thing he can do really to help Cookie is hold up Leo Lund and hope he doesn't overtake him quick enough to at least have a chance, I would say. He's on the fresher, better tires. With Leo, what he did, Titan, I know your point about the intervals with the safety car delta and everything, and the VSC delta. Although the safety car is in this lap, I don't know if that's much of an excuse to avoid that penalty, though. I just don't think so, because you can easily have different deltas and stay behind each other, but he chose to manipulate that and go ahead. He didn't need to do that.
Yeah. And also just seeing in the driver chat, Egg being a little ticked off at Cookie. Cookie was an AI, and Cookie's AI was smacking into the back of Egg multiple times.
Hopefully he doesn't have any rear wing damage. We'll find out on this restart if that does come into effect. If he does, especially even Reese Dainty's floor damage, if that has an effect as well. Safety car in, green flag's back out. Gecko leads this race, but remember, he might be seeing the steward's office after this race for his incident with Cookie. If that's the case, Speed could be taking the first V-Carb win in almost 5 years. It's been that long. It would be going back to HX4K with Baku, but now side by side. Reese Dainty and Leo. Reese shoving him out wide. Leo going off track. Did he overtake off track? Leo gives it back, though. And now TB in on the equation. How about him getting involved in this fight?
Yeah, TB trying to fight his way as Leo may be facing a possibility of a penalty because of that little thing with Gecko. And yeah, Leo alongside of Reese going into turn 1 and into turn 2. There was contact between Reese and Leo. That resulted in Leo cutting a corner. He had to get the place back. Meanwhile, Speed for temporarily had the lead from Gecko, but had to forfeit the lead back to Gecko.
Yeah, very racy right there. Reese Dainty losing the rear and almost going into the path of TB. Egg with a penalty.
Whoa!
Reese and TB going side by side in the chicane, and it gets very hairy there, almost into the wall for Reese, but the 2 Academy teammates did keep it clean. Jack Miles will now be fighting Leo Lund, and for our lead, will we have a V-Carb taken once again for the 2nd time? Now he's going to be fighting Cam.
Reese is not having a good time at this moment at all, as Reese now falls down to 10th place at this moment. He's got Blonde right behind him here, and that's not good. I mean, with that floor damage, it's really going to kill. It's really killing Reese here. Not gonna lie there. And by the way, don't forget, Egg has that 3-second penalty as KBS lets Leo through. We have safety car. That's for Robin. Robin is wrecked in turns 2 and 3.
That will change the outcome of this race for sure. Once again, Leo Lund gaining the most spots of anybody, though, on that safety car restart, up to 5th place. TB and Cam, other medium runners, up to 8th and 9th, who had pitted just moments prior with that last safety car. 5 drivers out of this race. That's a shocking number. What has happened to the driving standards? We've had a clean first 2 races, I would say. Jetta may be the only one that's questionable, this being for all tiers, by the way. We ended off last season quite well, too, even with the DNF rate. What is happening? I just have to question.
I have no idea. But, you know, with this safety car being out, I'm just saying this. This is just in my personal opinion here. But for the guys that are on the hard tires right now, if I was them, I would say, you know what? I'm on the hard tires. I'm gonna take a gamble. I'm gonna pit for fresh mediums. I think it's worth it because they're on 11 lap old hard tires. When the safety car comes in, you're looking at 8 laps to go.
Yeah, does anybody choose to pit?
I think it's worth the
find
chance.
Out. Yeah, no one in the top 4 choose to come in.
I'm shocked.
Reese does. Reese surely has to do this, I feel like, regardless of his damage. I just think you're not going to get points in any way with that damage on 12-lap tires now. You're not going to have a shot. He's going to softs. I think that's a little bold. He maybe could have went mediums, but I don't know if he had a new set of mediums at all either. Zakaria and Kieran are in, and they're on softs as well. If they think softs can go the rest of the way, then go for it. I say do it, but this is so tricky, though, of a choice. If I'm a strategist, you have laps under the safety car. You might be okay, at least in terms of making those softs at the end, but will they be enough for overtaking on the last laps too, though? They'll overtake quite early on, but will they overtake in the end as well? We'll find out.
Well, on the lap counter, the safety car. This is only lap 19 of 29. Where there's only 10 laps left to go in this race. I think once that safety car comes in, you're looking at 8 laps to go. So Reese, Kieran, Zakaria going on to the soft tires. I think it's a good call. I think it might be a good call because with the soft tires, I believe the degradation, if you're good on it, you're averaging about maybe 5-6% degradation at this track. I think that's what it could be. Might be a little higher, might not be, but I think these guys, Kieran, Zakaria, and Reese, I think they made a decent call.
So we've not talked about this in a long while for RPL, at least in Tier 1, but I have to wonder, are we reaching our safety car limit? We've had 3 safety cars and 2 VSCs. I believe the limit is 5 for both combined. Are we going to have another safety car or VSC after this if we get another crash like Robin or Hunted or Red Fire had? That's going to be my big question now, is the safety car will come in next time.
This is our third safety car, but we've had only one VSC.
I thought
we
two.
have one VSC. It was for our 3 safety cars. The first one was for Red Fire. The second one was for Jordan. And the third one, current one, is for Robin. Hunted was the one that triggered the VSC.
Well, I thought there was at least 2, but if there's to your calculations in your math that there was 4 combined, 3 safety cars, 1 VSC, then we have one more chance for a VSC or safety car that could shape up things. That's when I think people would pit late on for softs. And the ones who don't, well, that'll be interesting to watch out who doesn't and stays out. You got KBS having a good run for Alpine, by the way. You have Leo charging through the field once again. Jack on the recovery drive back to 7th. TB, Cam, Blonde, they're the last points runners, but they have penalties to their name.
I'm just taking a look at the demographic here. Taking a look at the driver's chat here. The reason for Robin's DNF. Yellow rear wing damage, and I think he was fighting the car, so I think the car just finally decided to just completely give up on him. That's why he crashed. He was out of the race. I mean, honestly, if you were fighting a car and you still had that rear wing damage, I think you should just play it safe and just went to the pit and retired.
Yeah, it's definitely an argument for sure, but you also, for the sake of your academy, want to keep going on and see if you can get the best result possible. If you look at a race like this, or even last season, or no, 2 seasons ago, Jeddah, even last season as well could be included with 5 or more DNFs. Well, actually more than 5 DNFs. Maybe you have a chance to score points because it has gotten chaotic today, Titan, that's for sure. Even in F2 as well at Saudi, speaking of Saudi. So, Gecko leads this race. Speed was trying to go for the lead earlier, and he did get it for a moment. But will we see a V-Carb get onto the top step of the podium for the first time since HX4K, the only other driver, did it in RPL F1? I think the last legitimate chance V-Carb have had, besides Australia, would go back from Luke Range when Beatnik and Skither collided in Season 7 Belgium. He finished 2nd. That incident wasn't reported. Maybe this will be redemption for that day tonight. Green flag back in the air. We got racing underway, but will Leo Lund get cookie here? Leo Lund doesn't even have a car even close to him behind, so he's got a chance. But green flag's back out. Gecko, time to restart. Good, but will it be good enough as we get to DRS quite soon?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just taking a look at the race directors here for the drivers here. Looking at comparing with the top 4, Gecko and Speed. 1 warning away from a penalty. Ooh, Cookie flying with an attempt. Ooh, and Leo tried to sneak in for a 3 wide. Didn't work for him. Had a little tag, but he's okay. Back in it. And now he's under threat from both TB and KVS here. KVS doing a little bit of a squeeze. TB had to back off. I think he sensed what happened. Saw KVS's positioning and stuff. Whoa, Cookie's around!
He went egg, and now he's half spun because of it. And there was so much movement happening prior. It's just not ending. Leo behind egg almost clipped the back of him. TB's gone through for 5th, but it will be gifted to KVS later on with the track limit penalties applied. We've got 5 different drivers still left in this race with track limit penalties. Leo trying to go for 3rd now.
Leo attempting to go for 3rd, but bear in mind he may find himself in trouble because of what had happened with Gecko under the second safety car. He may find himself in trouble for that. But Speed, by the way, in pursuit of Gecko at this present moment. Gecko is also possibly facing trouble at the
What the Sigma?
and spinning.
Reese Dainty sets fastest lap with floor damage on softs.
I did see that.
Okay.
Did not expect that.
Gecko losing touch now to try and pull away from Speed. Speed is closed up. DRS will be online, but they're on 15-lap hards. Here goes Leo Lund, lunging
Leo.
down the inside.
Ooh,
almost flipped
Lord.
Gecko, but he went through anyways. Kim got KVS too. Wow.
You gotta love that, Leo.
Yeah, you do.
Super brave at 7.
But right now, 1 and 2 might be under investigation after this race, so we'll watch out what they do. Right now, KVS is taking 6th place here over Cam. Cam with an hellacious send, way too deep, and goes off, but holds on to 7th, just barely over Jack, an ex-teammate of his.
Cam almost Baku, basically almost Hamilton Baku'd himself there.
Well, anyways, 3/10 the gap. Leo Lund and Gecko now. Now Leo Lund is going for it. Will he get this race lead back? Will he even keep it based on the Swords Room later? That'll be a question worth asking. On to lap 24, there's about to be contact, and there is contact down into the braking zone here. Gecko holds on, but Leo's there, Speed is there, and so is Egg and TB fighting for this victory. Both V-Carbs there. Here we go into turn 1.
Deciding to hold off for the time being to see what will happen next. I'm going to take a look at the penalties at this present moment. If Leo does get the passing and a safety car penalty, which will probably be a 10-second at the moment, if that happens, right now Leo Lund is looking to drop down from 2nd to 14th as Gecko is in the penalty box.
That's
2
crucial
out
for
of
this
7.
race lead. Leo Lund wants the race lead though regardless. Here he comes around the outside. He's going to pull alongside and get through with ease, it looks like. Dainty's calling back up to the field. He's up to 8th. He passed his teammate a moment ago. But now Gecko, who's within proximity still of Leo, will get the DRS this time by still. But now Leo Lund picks up a track limit penalty, and he also made a mistake as well. He went wide, but now our net race leader is AMS Speed in the V-Carb.
This is just insane.
Technically, our net podium titan is going to be Speed, KVS, and Reese. Reese needs to get back up there. Now the V-Carbs are fighting it out. Almost a collision. Here comes Gecko. Gecko down the inside. 2x2 to the braking zone.
Very wide.
And TB wants in on the fight. Even though he has the track limit penalty, he knows he can gain spots with these guys. Seeing the storage room later. Reese gets KVS, and now big movement down the straight. My goodness. TB back down to 4th. What has happened to flip this race upside down like this? Unbelievable.
God, this is just insane here. And with only 5 laps to go, this is basically all or nothing. Speed is looking to be a first-time winner. Can he get it to happen? At this moment, he is looking at it.
Gecko's dropped out of DRS. Speed needs to get this move done now if he wants to have a chance to get Leo Lund right here for the win. V-Carb have not won in over 4 years in this league. We're about to reach the 5-year anniversary, but right now he's about to reach 2nd place with a bold move. He faked him, and he put Gecko into the runoff, and Gecko rejoins this race side by side, but they cannot keep fighting if they want the win here.
Wow, what a muscle move by Speed into the chicane. I cannot believe it. What a maneuver.
2.1 the gap. We've got lots of racing still to go. 5 laps remaining. Now the V-Carbs are going to split the Ferrari 3 wide. Gecko gets the place. Now back down the inside. Speed's going for it, and he's shoving his way through. 3 abreast once more, once again. The 2 V-Carb banging it out.
TB is on the fresher compound tire, but the TB fighting with Speed, it's compromising him.
And this is only helping Reese get closer to this pack, but he needs to make the moves.
Whoa,
and both V-Carbs
baby!
collide. TB goes off and back ahead.
I mean, we know what TB's history. He is willing to fight with people, even if it's his own teammate. And TB has damage.
Yeah, Reese Dainty, by the way, got Egg, Cam got KBS, and it's all kicking off. You're right about the damage. This is going to help Reese Dainty, because TB will have more straight line speed with the DRS and the damage, but Reese is there. Reese is there to take a podium with all this. After floor damage to his race, here he goes, 3 abreast again. Oh, way too deep.
2 for 1.
But he'll have the inside line. 3
Oh my
abreast.
God.
It's a Red Bull kerfuffle here with the D3 Academy cars. Almost a collision again. They're fighting it out. Speed is off, and Speed's in the wall with Egg.
Yeah, TB was just
Shades of
muscling
being good
with them,
Jack.
and TB muscled around with Speed, and that forced him to, I think he cut the corner. Someone into the wall. That's blonde into the wall.
Oh my goodness, big damage to that. Cookie outside the points now on track. He's fighting Minico, and he's about to spin the Aston around. He spun the Sauber around due to contact on the right front and left front tires with them cars. Drama unfolding again for a second week in a row. But I have to not forget here, Titan. Reese won here once in the stewards room. He's got to go quick enough. He's got to get this gap down. He can get Gecko in on the penalties, but he can also get Gecko and Leo both in the stewards room. He's familiar to this.
Speaking of which, I'm just taking a look at the markers right now. Leo Lund, with the 3-second penalty applied to him, he needs to gain another 3 seconds on Cookie and Zakaria. Oh, yes, he has to gain another 3 seconds on Cookie and Zakaria in order to maintain being in the top 10.
Cam, he started this race from the back of the field. He's up to 4th. He's not had a podium since his first outing with Ferrari back in Zandvoort 2 seasons ago. He's got TB, and a lot of the drivers who are not in this race as Speed gets a penalty.
He's in the penalty box.
Yeah, that's big. KVS maybe to that podium if there's penalties later. But I was going to say, some people, drivers who are not in this race, who usually race, arguing the fact that Speed and TB, their egos have clashed. We might see it again. Speed is really going to close up to TB because he's being held back from Cam now. Speed was looking but couldn't get there. 1.5 between Gecko and Leo. This is super big. Reese can win this race in the stewards room, and he needs to prove himself. Does he really deserve this second Red Bull spot? Right now, when Cookie's been down and out of it, he's proven today that he's a factor, even with the floor damage.
This is going to be really wild to say the least here. And speaking of which, by the way, just noticing this in regards to the track limit penalties and stuff. We haven't talked much about him, but look at the moment, if he stays within it, the V-car's at it again.
Oh, that is a disaster waiting. They're gonna crash. Yeah. They're gonna both go out, and they both have some sort of damage to their car from what we've seen, battling it out side by side. You were saying with the penalties?
Oh, chop!
Oh, again. Speed with a dive bomb. TB with the switchback. Now, side by side here once again. They both touch wheels once more. And they still do. TB shoving his way through. You were saying what penalties, Titan?
Well, if he stays within 3 seconds of him, we haven't talked much about him. Zakaria is looking to take 10th from Egg.
He's not had points in a while, and he still could take even more with the storage room later. KVS with Speed. Speed with a big move on the straight. KVS having to take evasive action, but the final lap is underway. Leo Lund has a 3-second penalty. Gecko does too, but Reese Dainty is running 3rd, and maybe we'll find out midweek if he's going to be the one to take the race victory. We spoke about Saudi Arabia a lot, Titan, with what Reese Dainty did on strategy. This time he ran on soft tires to finish this race with the safety car, had floor damage, had a lap 1 catastrophe, an absolute awful lap 1, and now
TV
is
clipped the
fighting
wall
for
in
this.
5.
Oh, this is going to be big. This is going to be big. Here comes Speed down the inside of TB once again.
And Zakaria is now out of range of Leo.
You mean Reese? You said Zakaria with Leo. You mean Zakaria with Egg, maybe. But here comes KVS, Speed, Jack, a big race into Sector 3. The heavy braking zone now first. TB, side by side with Jack, banging wheels. Here's Speed in the equation. It's all kicking off here on the final lap.
I think we're gonna see some desperation into the front, into turn 17 here.
I just want to mention, Reese Dainty right now on the podium, might get the win in the stewards room. This is proper revenge for Saudi. He got a podium earlier today in F2. He's now going to look to take second place on track. Provisionally, Leo Lund wins once again and takes the Miami Grand Prix victory. It is absolute revenge for Reese Dainty, claiming P2 in the Miami Grand Prix. Lap 1 disaster to a podium side by side. The two V-carbs edge it out. Speed getting TB. Oh my goodness. Reese is second, Gecko is third, Cam is fourth, and KVS is fifth for Alpine. Egg claiming the last point over Zakaria.
And I'm seeing it in the gap from the leader, from using under the leader thing. If Leo Lund does get a 10-second penalty, he will only drop to 7th.
Yeah. Reese Dainty, I want to talk about him because I'm going to guess that might be a penalty to Leo. If this is the win for Reese Dainty, this is very much deserved. This comeback drive is one like no other. Blonde, last one to finish the event. You see 15 cars finishing, maybe 14 now. But with that being said, Reese Dainty needed this after Jeddah. This is proper revenge for him. It may not be the win right now, but it's the podium. It's his first podium of the season. And he is going to be silencing the doubters, maybe with just an extra spot later on. We'll find out. Lots to go through in the stewards room later on, because this race had been flipped upside down multiple times. I can't even count how many, but it's insane. Oh, we have unhappy teammates. Is that a shocker, though? No.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, Speed and TV are not thrilled with each other.
I don't really know if I want to give many interviews to anybody because of how that race really turned out. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it just say anything could possibly happen. It's gonna be wild, just to say.
Hold on, I'm gonna ask a question to Luke quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to see this. We got our podium celebrations underway. I'm gonna have you go through final results when we get there. But the 5th Miami Grand Prix is in the history books. And Leo Lund gets the trophy. Is it provisionally, though? We'll find out. '19th to 4th. That's a driver of the day worthy performance from Cam. I have to give tons of credit for that. He's probably my driver of the day. Jack made a good comeback drive. KVS with a good Alpine drive. There's so much to talk about, Titan. Reese Dainty.
Oh, yeah.
Second after lap 1 troubles with Jack. He proved that, well, that's what the Red Bull can do when you give him the chance. Your final results, we lost 5.
They still managed to do it with floor damage, too. It's insanity at this present moment. It's just insane. I mean, and I'm gonna wind up agreeing with you. I think Cam, starting way in the back of the field and getting up to where he finished, very solid run for him. KVS outperforming the Alpine per usual, did really good. Jack had a bit of a problem. He did decently as well. And then you can't also discount Reese, because with that floor damage, he still managed to bait, even though with that little bit of a disability on him, he still managed to outperform that Red Bull, and he is proving that he is wanting to belong in the Red Bull.
Well, it definitely has to be questioned. Reese Dainty got in a lap 1 incident. Was he somebody as well who got into an incident earlier on at any point as well that happened with anybody? That will be something questioned. Gecko got on the podium, but look at who got 4th. Cam. Is he going to be one who gets any promotions through any places? Maybe a podium, maybe a second podium for Cam. Did Cam keep it clean? Because Cam had the most penalty points last season. But this season, he's been quite clean when he's raced. And he's now at the Ferrari Academy, got his chance in Ferrari. And today, he deserves the drive of the day. I don't care about Reese's race for a second or Jack's race for a second. Right there with Cam, top 3 drive of the day contender easily. If you exclude Reese, Jack, and KVS there. I would say he would deserve it. I don't know who to give it to based on what we're going to see in the stewards room, because that will all decide it. But I mean, Cam, Reese, KVS, Jack, those guys, they all deserve a good shout out, no doubt about it. I can't give it to anybody.
I completely agree with you.
Well, I've been getting pings all over about this race for sure, but I got to ask you, Titan, we go to Imola next week. You won't be there. While we're at it, before we do any interviews, if possible, give us your final thoughts from today's event. I know.
I think the only thing I can say is that race has made my blood pressure go up.
You used up one of your 9 lives, it looks like, from what you're saying, what I can hear.
Yeah.
Hunted, very proud of KVS. I'm just reading out on all the carnage. Owen was talking about TB being one of the worst teammates. You know what? I'm going to say this. If we can agree on this, Titan, I would be very happy. I don't think TB is alone at any blame with the speed stuff. I think he is at fault as well, just as much. If not, maybe more.
I was thinking I'm agreeing with you because don't forget, TB has had quite a bunch of teammates, and regardless regardless who he is teammates with, even if he's in the slower car, if he will fight anyone to go for the position. I mean, think about it in season 8. Season 8, he had multiple incidents with Jacob. Season 9 at the start, his issues with Reese. It's all over the place.
But also, Speed had issues in Jeddah, to be fair. You know, you're going to talk about TB. I'll talk about Speed perfectly, you know.
Go ahead.
Both of them made transfers from academies for their own reasoning. But the thing is, though, their issues have followed him. Speed had incidents in Jeddah when he was in the Sauber. And he didn't just have 1 or 2 incidents. He had 3 different incidents. And he was in the points. And then, there you go. You've had a lot of things happen today with teammates that I don't think will be ignored, no doubt about it. Right now, we're interviewing our current 2nd place finisher. I say current because it looks like Leo Lund is for sure going to get a penalty. We can't assume on it too much because incidents may not always get reported, but I at least want to talk about Reese's race in 2nd place. I mean, Reese, I would hope you kept it clean as well. Maybe you can get the win yourself, but talk me through your race. You went through it with floor damage and ended up having a lot go wrong, and then you had it all go right at the end, it looked like.
Yeah, man. It was difficult to kind of keep up the pace at the start. It was fortunate. Sorry, it was misfortunate. I got a terrible start because I ended up hitting the back of my own teammate. I got line damage, and then the front left yellow just pretty much killed me. So being all the way down after so long, it was so. It disheartened me, you know. Fucking put me so far down, I didn't know what to do. I just kept at it. I came back through the field. Luckily, the safety cars were on my side. And then the very last time to pit, decided softs was the play, and it ended up beautifully. After about 6 laps or so, softs were on 30-ish%, which was better than what I thought.
Wow.
It was great tyre wear, but you know, I'm just happy with it all, man. I'm tired.
I could tell. You needed this. You got redemption, it looked like, for Saudi Arabia in F1, but in F2 earlier today, getting a podium. You got a P2, but I got to ask, with your incidents on lap 1 or even everybody's incidents as a whole, Leo overtook Gecko under the safety car. Gecko will be getting a penalty likely for an incident with Cookie, it looks like. We've got a lot to go on for sure. We don't know what the results will be. It kind of feels like Baku last season with the way it was. Shades of that. but will you be getting the race victory, you think, in the stewards room? Did you get in any incidents? Tell me about that one, which may see you get the victory or may not.
I mean, the only incident that comes to mind is the one with the floor damage. I was following Jack because he looked like he had more pace than me on the mediums at the time because I was on the hards early race stage. So I let him through, followed him, kept my battery high, and then I think it was the time he overtook the Haas at turn 1. It looked like the Haas just didn't have a lot of speed, so with the grip advantage I had, I thought, you know what, I might as well send it because I can't just sit behind him. The race is going to wreck mine. So I decided to send it, and all I see is him fishtailing. He hit me. Luckily, he hit me sideways, which didn't spin me, but he did collect on the wall, and I left plenty of space to him. And unfortunately, it gave me yellow floor damage or something like that. I mean, on my stream, I was worried at the time that I'd get wing damage or downforce loss, which I think was pretty much my biggest concern. But luckily, it was only really drag reduction, a huge loss of drag, which meant added drag. My bad. Which basically hampered my straight line speed. So you would have noticed me in the race dropping my battery, just trying to get past, a Sauber or a Ferrari or whoever, and then I just couldn't get past them because I had no pace because of the floor damage. But yeah, it's difficult to say the least.
Well, maybe your best comeback drive, that's up for debate. You mentioned Vegas last season being one of those, but you got it taken away in the stewards room. This one, maybe going to be a little bit harder to take away. We'll find out if that happens, but congrats on your podium, second place finish. Again, like we said, we don't know for sure, but maybe more. With that being said, we can definitely say for sure, though, revenge for Jeddah. So congrats once again, Reese. Titan, any questions?
Yeah, the only one I have is so Reese, despite that floor damage, having hindering you, but being able to navigate your way through, getting into second, potentially might be getting a race win. With how the season was going for you at the start for the first few races, with this second place, maybe a possible victory, is this like the morale boost that you needed to say like, this is good, I need to keep this up, I'll be able to fight for a championship? Is this the morale boost that you needed?
Yeah, it's definitely the morale boost I'd needed, Titan. It's I've struggled the past 4 race weekends now. It's kind of been on my shoulders, I'm going to lose my seat, I'm not doing good enough. And then naturally in myself, I knew I wasn't doing great. Last week, I suffered from norovirus. Wasn't fun. The fear of vomiting all race wasn't great. But nursing that home to P6 of what it was, I was quite happy with that. But I think the morale boost that I needed was this race. So just have to see how the results end.
Wonderful.
Also, I would maybe, this is not a question, but I'll get a laugh out of you both for it. I would maybe want an invite to the Red Bull server just to find out if I can have some popcorn for your guys' teammate collisions, because it doesn't sound like it's going to go over too well at all from today's race, if you heard about what happened in your academy. And, well, you saw part of it from lap 1, so yeah. I hope that goes over well, at least. That's all I'll say. I shouldn't say much more. That wouldn't be nice. That'd be mean. But, yep.
Alright, I've got to go.
That's it for the first quarter of the way done during RPL F1 Season 11. Titan, you won't be here next week in Imola, so any thoughts ahead of the upcoming Grand Prix? We said closing thoughts from Miami, but upcoming thoughts for Imola next week?
Well, after the chaos and craziness that it was for Miami, I believe was Cookie or Egg or somebody mentioning it in the driver chat. I'm hoping we don't have the same chaos and craziness that we have for Imola.
Yeah, I agree. I would not want that, but the clips are swarming in. I don't really get at all why the driving standards have been a bit tipsy-topsy, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I mean, even if the driving standards have been good in some races, the DNF rate has been a bit massive throughout all tiers, and that's not good. Drivers continue to retire in the pits. It causes yellow flags in the main straight. You can't overtake because of it. We've had incidents happen because of that to start the season. But I think it's weird because usually, just like Season 9 when the first game cycle came out of 23, it started off well, and then it got better. But now it started really well for the first 2 weeks, and then it's gotten worse. So what has happened here becomes our question now as an admin team, commentators, viewers, drivers, you name it. Ahead of Imola. Yeah. All right. Well, looks like that'll do it for our first quarter of the way done. Imola next week. Also Baku in Tier 3 to continue the way things go here at RPL Formula 1. Make sure you tune in for our YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter /X, or even our Discord server with many things to look out forward to for our upcoming events. We'll catch you next time. Ryan Searles, RPL Tire and Iron, signing off for tonight. We will see you next week. Or I will. And Titan will see you the week after. Good night.